So walk me through an example of what a yellow brick road for maybe a company that you've worked with, maybe even your own company. Walk me through sort of what those stages are and the type of content that is most appropriate at each one.
Sure. So there was a tech company that we were working with recently. It's a software SaaS product. And what we found by reverse engineering their more successful sales was the sequence was, and I'm going to do this at a high level, because generally we
Yeah.
find there's about 25 pieces of content or touch points on average that need to go in place to get a prospect from, hey, I know who you are, to I'm willing to do business with you and spend money, which is in the revenue
Hmm.
zone. So there's about 25 touch points along the way. But so I won't go through all 25, but at a high level, right, we found was, okay, one of the first things was, it's just making them aware of the software, what it did, the features. Okay, makes sense. And that was just through like a 5-minute video. That wasn't through a, ongoing or demo or a live demo or anything like that.
Hmm.
And the second thing that we found is they did want to see some customer case studies. So they wanted to, find out what other customers, how they were using it, how they were applying it. So we set up 2 or 3 customer case study videos, again, short, 2, 3, 4-minute type of things. Then we found, interestingly enough, and at that point, prospects were then going off and Googling the company, looking at review sites, doing things along those lines. So we knew that was coming. So as they got through the customer case study, we said, hey, if you want to check us out on G2 or Google us or whatever, go ahead and do this. Be sure to look for this. And we just made it easier for them to keep going. And then ultimately that led up to a point where we knew where they actually wanted to get some pricing information or a proposal or that kind of stuff. Again, we made that easy to occur online. And then once they got to the point of talking to a salesperson, which we did build into the Yellow Brick Road, it doesn't have to be a sales free or a rep free experience. But at that point, the sales person was more validating what they had found, right? Confirming what they had found, helping them, make sense of what they were getting in their proposal and acting as more of a guide or a consultant along the way. And we also, every step along the way, if they needed help, we made it easy for them to do that. So, hey, you need help with this or want more information, here's how you can reach out and get that information really easy. But if not, here's your next step along the way. So all the way up to the point where, we got to the point where they're, as I said earlier, they have an understanding of the products and services, and they have beliefs as to why they should be doing business and buying those things.
Awesome. And you mentioned that you kind of got here by reverse engineering some of those, best performing customers. So talk to me about the results that you see on the closing side when this more kind of customer driven approach is followed.
Yeah. So, and in the book, we have some quantitative metrics that we spell out that you want to look at. And some of those are related to, moving through the process, what content are they consuming, how much over, and then obviously the velocity of what that's happening, right? So we want to see the content being consumed, and then we want to see it being done in some sort of pattern. And there's still a lot more testing to go on and a lot more quantitative testing that needs to go on there. But one of the things we are seeing is more content being consumed, less, even as we look at like Google Analytics and on websites, less bounces, like going to a site and then bouncing off and being there for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, more time consuming content, going from one piece of content to the other along the way. So, and then getting to the revenue zone faster. So that's what we're seeing quantitatively. Qualitatively, interestingly enough, is we're seeing that the competitor or it's really becomes a competitive advantage for the company. And by doing this, they're sort of eliminating other competitive options because they're taking the prospect down that road and they're not letting them go off on Google and find all the other competitors, and they're making it easy for them. So it's inherently, organically, in a way, eliminating competition faster. And that's just an interesting side effect that we're seeing along the way, but that's more qualitative than quantitative at this point.
Mm-hmm.